Daily pre-trip inspection is an important aspect for preventing vehicle failures which could result in serious injuries or a visit by law enforcement.
Hello, officer. Now, I know I wasn't speeding, and I did stop at that last stop sign.
You're in a heap of trouble, mister. The law don't allow you to operate this vehicle, especially one this big, when all your safety equipment's not working. You're in a heap of trouble, all right. You know I've had my eyes on you ever since the start. What about that brake light not working? What about you missing mud flap? As a matter of fact, you could have busted my windshield when I tried to chase you down. Listen here, don't you fellas at DOT have a pre-trip inspection before you hit the road? You fellas need to go ahead and nip it. You hear me? Nip it in the bud. You know what, fella? I got a good mind to go ahead and run you in. And let me just tell you this. It ain't no fun when those iron doors clang behind you. So you need to nip it. Nip it, nip it, nip it!
There may be several versions of a pre-trip inspection form being used throughout DOT, but all of them basically cover the major items to look at to ensure your safety. Do you really know what you're looking for when you inspect each item? This video will demonstrate the inspection process while showing detailed views for items that might not be easily visible during the inspection. To help focus your attention, Deputy Barney will be assisting. Engine dust covers and wheels have been removed in some scenes to show a clearer view.
Now, man, I've only got one thing to say. This is not going to be any kid stuff. There will be no mollycoddling. You're going to be on your own. You're going to have to do this pre-trip inspection every day before you bring this big rig out on the road. So you're going to have to nip it. Nip it in the bud. And if you don't want me pulling you over every day for faulty safety equipment, you're going to have to nip it. And I mean nip it in the bud.
The first thing you should be looking for as you walk up to your vehicle is evidence of any leaking fluids under the engine compartment. Any puddles or wet spots on the pavement during dry conditions could indicate a leak somewhere. During wet conditions, be looking for any discoloration on the wet pavement under your vehicle. Also look for unnatural truck lean or broken windshield as you approach.
It's a fact that their truck ain't got no lean I can see. Well, listen up, man. Start at the engine and work your way around the vehicle. Down the side, around the back, and down the other side. Have you got that? Now tick a lock and listen up as Mr. DOT Inspector here shows you the finer points of pre-trip inspection.
It's not where you start that's important, but that you do a complete pre-trip inspection each day. Depending on the make and model of the truck, some items being inspected, such as fuel and air tanks, may be located on either side of the vehicle. Proper levels for oil, power steering, and coolant fluids are essential for your vehicle to operate in a safe and efficient manner. How do you check your oil? Do you pull the dipstick out and look at it, or do you pull it out and wipe it off first before checking the fluid level? The latter is the preferred method. While you're looking at the reservoir for proper power steering fluid level, also check the windshield washer fluid level. You should also be looking for any evidence of leaks at fittings or the reservoir itself. Let's now take a look at the coolant reservoir. Observe the sight glass on the coolant reservoir to ensure fluid level is sufficient. It is inevitable that fan belts and rubber hoses will eventually dry out and crack over a long period of time. Any evidence of cracks in rubber hoses should be taken care of. Also check for any leaks around hose connections. If fan belts are cracked or frayed, they should be replaced. You need to also ensure that fan belts have the proper tension and are on their pulleys. Look for loose or missing mounting brackets or bolts on the alternator and water pump. Also check for leaks on the water pump and hoses. Look for loose or missing bolts on the air compressor for the air brake system. Listen for any air leaks and look for any signs that the air compressor is pumping oil. Let's take a look at the steering box and steering linkage, which will have to be done by looking behind the driver's side front wheel. Here's a view with the wheel off for a closer look. Observe for loose or missing bolts, leakage around seals and hoses. If it is loose, the universal joint may need to be replaced. The front suspension system provides more than just a smoother ride. It also supports the weight of the vehicle and works to keep the tires firmly in contact with the road surface. You will need to look behind the front wheels to view leaf springs and shocks. Video also shows a close-up shot with wheel removed to give you a better view. Look for missing, cracked, or broken leaves, retainer clips, and spring mounts on the leaf springs. Also look for worn bushings and loose or missing mounting bolts. See that the shocks are securely bolted both top and bottom and that there are no leaks. Bushing mounts should not be worn. The braking system is probably the most important safety system on your vehicle. Without a properly functioning brake system, your life and that of the motoring public could be in danger. The air brake system consists of the air compressor, air tanks, foot valve, brake chamber, slack adjusters, brake linings, and drums. The automatic slack adjuster adjusts the free play in the linkage between the push rod and brake as the brake lining wears. Again, looking behind the wheel, check for broken, loose, or missing parts. As can be seen in the video, when the brake is actuated, the push rod travel is less than 1 inch.
Well, would you look at that?
Front tires should have a minimum of 4/32 tread depth with no evidence of cupping or uneven wear. The minimum tread depth required for front tires is greater than rear tires in order to provide better control with steering.
Well, now that makes sense.
Check for damaged or bent rims. See that hub oil seals are not leaking. Check that all lug nuts are present, free of cracks and distortions, with no signs of rust trails. Rust trails are a result of water seeping out from under lug nuts, which is an indication that the lug nuts are not tight enough.
Well, you know what they say about rust trails. They lead you to the culprit.
After finishing with the front end of the vehicle, we work our way along the driver's side to inspect the door, mirrors, and fuel tank. Depending on the model of truck, the fuel tank may be located on the passenger side of the vehicle. Check to see that door opens and shuts smoothly and that door hinges are not worn. Check that mirrors and mirror brackets are not damaged and are securely mounted with no loose fittings by grabbing mirror bracket and shaking. Check that the fuel tank is secure by looking for missing bolts and verifying that tank straps have not shifted. Also check that the fuel cap is tight and that there is no damage or leaks from the tank or fuel lines. When you're driving that dump truck with or without a load, you expect to be able to stop when brakes are applied. Water in your air brake system may affect your stopping distance. Make sure to drain your air tanks each day by pulling lanyard on dump valve during your pre-trip inspection.